Increased asylum seekers at the border have caused the Biden administration to increase deportation flights. And a Virginia high school was the scene of a deadly shooting.
New details have emerged in the Gabby Petito case, and Democrats say they will attach a suspension of the debit limit to a government funding bill. All this and more right here on WCTV. Good evening and welcome back to Channel 14 News. I'm Gwyn Napier.
And I'm Rachel Pellegrino. Free coffee and free entertainment, the Beehive had it all during Noon Tunes event last week. WCTV's Darren Allensworth has the story.
On Wednesday, September 15th, the Students' Activities Board hosted Noon Tunes in the Beehive. Students who came to eat lunch had a chance to listen to guest artist Joe Matarkowski. Joe is the lead singer and guitarist from Abacus Jones. Students who came were also given free coffee. And come on, who doesn't like free coffee? SAB member McKenna Versier spoke about how she enjoyed giving back to her fellow students.
It's so enjoyable to be able to just talk with and be social, especially with COVID and everything. Like, this is one of the events that we can really talk to people, and I just really enjoy that.
From mingling to getting homework done, students enjoyed what the event brought to the table.
There's a whole group of people here, and they have coffee and tea. It's been really great.
For Channel 14 News, I'm Darian Allensworth.
The university's Student Activity Board also hosted a game night in the Beehive Saturday night. Joe Venzel was there to get his game on.
Joe Venzel with WCTV News, and as I sit down with Matt Peock and talk about the Students Activities Board game night in the Beehive, and I asked him how long they've been doing this.
I don't know, since before I was here. So, I mean, at least 5-6 years, if not longer.
Okay.
Yeah, we found that college students like getting together and having reasons to have fun together, and what's better than game night?
Exactly. We then talked about what it means to bring a little relaxation and fun to these students, especially during these tough semesters, and also couldn't forget about his favorite board game.
Yeah, I think it's always good to have a way to kind of escape from just the daily monotony of studying and being in class, and if you can do it with a group of people, why not?
Right, exactly. The last question, what's your favorite board game?
My favorite board game is probably 51st State. Now, you've probably never heard of it, so I'm just going to say look it up. Okay.
For WCTV News, I'm Joe Venzel.
Students sang their hearts out during the first round of Woo Idol Friday night. Gwyn Napier was there to check out the competition.
12 of Waynesburg University's most talented singers battled it out last Friday night at Woo Idol to see who has what it takes to make it to the next round.
The first person to grace the stage was Sarah Bloom singing My Heart Will Go On.
I think it went fairly well. I didn't mess up, but the only thing that the judges had to say is that I should have more stage presence. So other than that.
Another performer was Josh Anderson singing I'm Still Standing.
I think it went pretty well. I had the crowd singing with me. It was a fun time. Got everybody energized, all pumped up. I had big stage presence, but I really need to move around a bit. Plus, I think I can really hone in on those pitches just a little bit. I don't think it was as good as it could be, but I guarantee in the next round it'll be to perfection.
Carisha, will you please step forward? And Michaela Osborne is also in place of this, so if you could just pretend that I'm her as well. You guys will not be performing next week.
12 contestants started out the night. Only 10 advanced to the next round. Join me for the next round of Woo Idol. I'm Gwyn Napier, signing off.
That's all we have for Campus and Region News. When we come back, we'll have news from around the nation.
You're watching WCTV, where we aim to bring you the best local coverage of what you care about most. Everything from local businesses to hometown sports and the latest weather. We're keeping up to date with what you need to know about issues that affect our campus and our community. We're telling the stories that matter, celebrating our past, our future, and our potential. So tune in for all the latest buzz right here on WCTV Channel 14, Waynesburg.
A crisis unfolding at the U.S.-Mexico border, where thousands of migrants from mostly Haiti are waiting to be processed by U.S. immigration agents. Families and kids are sleeping on dirt, surrounded by garbage and without much food or water. CNN's Rosa Flores was at the border town of Del Rio, Texas.
Have you seen anything like this before?
No, this is the first.
This is what the U.S.'s immigration waiting room looks like in Del Rio, Texas, a border town 150 miles west of San Antonio. Thousands of migrants living in makeshift huts, sleeping in the dirt, waiting their turn to get processed by U.S. immigration authorities, a sight DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas witnessed today.
If you come to the United States illegally, you will be returned. Your journey will not succeed, and you will be endangering your life and your family's lives.
So right now we're going down to the International Bridge here in Del Rio.
CNN rode along with Lieutenant Christopher Olivares with the Texas Department of Public Safety.
So right now we're here at one of the, this is the main area that they were crossing.
Our first stop, an area where from the air, CNN cameras had captured migrants crossing freely just days earlier.
They were crossing to and from the U.S. via this dam. Just take a look, that's Mexico. You can see the flag flying.
And now the flow has stopped. Olivares says this sea of Texas state troopers helped secure the river.
So just be careful.
And moments later, we see the shocking scene under the Del Rio International Bridge. Thousands of migrants, mostly Haitian, say officials, living in squalor, like James Centillas, who says he left his home country for Chile in 2015 with his wife and 2 children.
He says that someone assaulted him in Haiti and someone shot at his aunt.
And 2 months ago, they started the trek to the United States.
You say that the route is open to enter in the United States. What does that mean? Family, friends, he says.
Sí.
Que dijeron la frontera está abierta. The border is open.
Sí, tengo muchas personas. Primo.
Tillis's voice breaks as he talks about his family.
So why is it so painful?
Porque estamos sufriendo acá, estamos sufriendo.
Because you're suffering.
He says food is hard to come by and the weather is tough to bear.
If you look closely, you'll see that these are men, women, children. I see pregnant women, infants.
Border Patrol's top cop announcing this weekend a surge of 600 agents, officers, and other personnel.
Why Del Rio? Why now? What does your intelligence tell you?
Traditionally, it's because of word of mouth. Certainly what happened this time is that number doubled and then tripled relatively quickly.
And to expedite processing, removal flights to Haiti have increased, says Border Patrol. And word about this is spreading quickly under the bridge.
You don't want to return to Haiti. It's too difficult, you say.
Where the immigration waiting room into the U.S. is quickly turning into a gate back to Haiti.
Officials say the Del Rio hospital is on the brink of being overwhelmed due to the surge of migrants. They say calls for medical care have increased exponentially. Most calls, hospitals officials say, are from pregnant women needing help and people suffering from dehydration.
The bizarre disappearance of Gabby Petito has taken some troubling twists. Her fiancé has vanished, and Sunday the FBI said they discovered human remains that fit her description. Britt Conway has the latest on the case.
It started on July 2nd, the trip of a lifetime for Gabby Petito and her fiancé Brian Laundrie, driving to Yellowstone National Park in a converted transit van. But they never made it. Petito missing for nearly a month. Laundrie returned home without Petito, but his family says they haven't seen him in nearly a week now. This weekend, as authorities searched for him in Florida, search teams in Wyoming continued to look for Petito. Sunday, they found something.
Earlier today, human remains were discovered, consistent with the description of Gabby Petito. Full forensic identification has not been completed to confirm 100% that we found Gabby, but her family has been notified of this discovery.
Petito was reportedly last seen at this Salt Lake City hotel on August 24th. On September 1st, Laundrie showed up at the home he and Petito shared with his parents in Florida in her white van. By the 11th, Petito's parents reported her missing.
2 people went on a trip, 1 person returned, and that person that returned isn't providing us any information.
But on the 14th, Laundrie's parents say he told them he was going to a nature reserve, and they say they haven't seen him since.
He should be leading this charge, and instead he's not. My gut tells me that something bad happened.
I'm Britt Conway reporting.
The Teton County coroner says there will be an autopsy Tuesday using photographs, personal ID, and/or DNA to confirm the identity and cause of death. Police have called Laundrie a person of interest in Petito's disappearance, but they say he is not wanted for the crime.
A shooting at a Virginia high school left 2 people injured on Monday. It happened at Heritage High School in Newport News. Police said an altercation led up to the incident, but they are unclear on details or whether the shooter was a student. 2 people were taken to the hospital with gunshot wounds that were not considered life-threatening. At least 2 others were taken to the hospital, one with asthma and another whose arm was injured while fleeing the school. Their conditions were not known. Students were evacuated and sent to the tennis courts on campus. The U.S. Supreme Court will arguments in a Mississippi abortion case challenging Roe v. Wade. The justices will take on the case concerning the state's Gestational Age Act on December 1st. The 2018 law allows abortions after 15 weeks only in medical emergencies or if the fetus has a severe abnormality. It makes no exception for rape or incest and punishes doctors who do not follow its guidelines. 2 federal courts have already blocked the Mississippi law. The justices deliberated for months about whether to take up the dispute. The Mississippi case will be the most important set of abortion-related oral arguments the court has heard since 1992. In 1992, the Supreme Court reaffirmed the constitutional right to terminate a pregnancy with the case of Planned Parenthood versus Casey. The landmark Roe v. Wade decision was set in 1973, legalizing abortion nationwide. A ruling from the Senate parliamentarian Sunday will make it more difficult for Democrats to address what they call America's broken immigration system. Democrats asked the parliamentarian if they could include immigration reforms as part of the $3.5 trillion reconciliation package, but parliamentarian Elizabeth McDonough ruled that would be too much of an enduring policy change for the reconciliation process. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says he is deeply disappointed by the decision, but vows to continue the fight for legal status for migrants. Democrats say they can pursue other strategies in budget reconciliation and are hopeful they can still bring about meaningful change.
A showdown is looming on Capitol Hill. That's after Democrats said Monday they will attach a suspension of the debt limit to a government funding bill. The debt ceiling is a limit on federal borrowing. Raising it allows the government to avoid going into default. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says if the U.S. defaults on its debt, it could lead to financial turmoil, including a spike in interest rates and a drop in stock prices. Republicans so far have repeatedly said they will not vote to raise the debt limit. But the spending legislation is a must-pass measure, so if Republicans vote against suspending the debt ceiling, they're also voting down critical government funding. That will lead to a government shutdown. Funding for the government is set to expire September 30th. 2 Houston police officers were met with gunfire at an apartment complex Monday. 1 officer killed and another wounded. Houston Police Chief Troy Finner says Senior Officer William Bill Jeffrey and Sergeant Michael Vance were serving a high-level narcotics felony warrant when it happened. Officer Jeffrey was killed. Sergeant Vance was hospitalized in stable condition. Finner said the suspect came out of an apartment, engaged the officers in gunfire, and was killed at the scene. Authorities identified the suspect as 30-year-old Dion Leddit. The U.S. military has admitted that it mistakenly killed 10 civilians and targeted the wrong vehicle in an airstrike in Kabul, Afghanistan last month. General Frank McKenzie, the top general of U.S. Central Command, said Friday the vehicle targeted was likely not a threat associated with ISIS-K. The Pentagon had maintained that at least one ISIS-K facilitator and 3 civilians were killed. The investigation released Friday found that all of those killed in the residential compound were civilians. McKenzie apologized and said he was fully responsible for the strike and the tragic outcome. He said the military earnestly believed the strike would prevent an imminent threat to U.S. forces and evacuees at the Kabul airport. Joint Chiefs Chairman General Mark Milley had previously called it, quote, a righteous strike, end quote. On Friday, Milley released a statement on the strike calling it, quote, a horrible tragedy, end quote. That's all for national news. When we come back, we'll have Brock Owens with business and entertainment. But first, we have Micah Leith outside with a brief weather update. Micah?
I'm Micah Leith here with your quick weather update. It's currently 78 degrees and rainy here in Waynesburg. Coming up later, I'll have the full 7-day weather forecast here at WCTV.
Hello, I'm Brock Owens here with your business and entertainment update. U.S. stocks got slammed on Wall Street Monday amid fears over a debt crisis with Chinese real estate conglomerate Evergrande. It was the worst performance since May for the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq, and the worst day since July for the Dow, which finished down 614 points. Investors were concerned about Evergrande's struggle to manage its $300 billion mountain of debt. The company was supposed to pay the interest on some of its bank loans Monday. The massive amount of money borrowed by Chinese companies has long been considered a looming threat to market stability. Here are Monday's closing numbers. Dow, 33,970.47, minus 614.41, and down 1.78%. Nasdaq, 14,713.90, minus 330.06, which is down 2.19%. And S&P 500, 4,357.73, minus 75.26, which is down 1.70%. Television figure RuPaul made Emmy history Sunday night. He became the most awarded person of color in the show's history with 11 wins, a record previously held by cinematographer Donald A. Morgan. His latest prize for Best Reality Competition Program for RuPaul's Drag Race. RuPaul, who serves as the host and executive producer, has nabbed 6 wins for Outstanding Host for a Reality or Competition Program. While accepting his award, RuPaul thanks those who go on his show to share, quote, their stories of courage. International travel has been taking a major hit during the pandemic, but now new guidelines may give the industry the jumpstart it's been waiting for. Fully vaccinated people traveling into the U.S. from UK and European Union, among other countries, will finally be able to enter America again. President Biden plans to lift a travel ban in place since the start of the pandemic. In today's Consumer Watch, Jen Sullivan has a closer look at the new rules and how it may impact the U.S. economy.
New travel guidelines expected to give international travel a major boost after lagging badly during the pandemic. The U.S. is now easing restrictions on fully vaccinated foreign travelers from the U.K. and European Union, among other countries entering the U.S.
We are very happy about this. We've been pushing on this now for almost 18 months.
The American Society of Travel Advisors joining other industry groups in praising the changes. Starting in November, all international travelers must show they're fully vaccinated before boarding a plane to the U.S. Also, provide proof of a negative COVID-19 test within 3 days of the flight. And under the new rules, they will not be required to quarantine.
In our view, the science has been there to support a system like this for a long time.
The travel industry is celebrating the news. Airlines, hotels, and travel agencies all hoping this will help them recover from huge economic losses.
This is going to supercharge the travel industry's recovery. This is absolutely one of the key parts of the recovery, is restarting the international travel system on which so many of our members depend.
And this may not be just a boost for the U.S. economy. The holidays are around the corner, and in some cases, this travel ban separated families since it was put into place early 2020 to control the spread of COVID-19.
This is important economically. It's also important psychologically, too, for folks to be able to look forward to seeing friends and family after 18 months.
For Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
In addition to requiring vaccination, the Biden administration says it's taking other steps to mitigate spread of the virus in 3 other areas: testing, contact tracing, and masking. Meanwhile, the CDC plans to issue a contact tracing order requiring airlines to collect information from U.S.-bound travelers, including phone number and email address, to alert travelers of potential exposure. Marvel's first Asian superhero may not make it to the big screen in China. David Daniel has that and more in the Hollywood Minute.
I thought I could change my name. Start a new life.
Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings is doing big box office in the U.S., but China's film board has not approved it for theaters there, though future releases have received Chinese release dates. Chinese nationalists reportedly have criticized star Simu Liu, who was born in China but grew up in Canada.
The Emperor asks us to bring peace to Arrakis. House Atreides accepts!
One of those future releases is already doing well. Dune debuted in 24 international markets, including Russia, France, Germany, and Italy, and made $36.8 million in its first weekend. The film expands worldwide, including the U.S. and China, on October 22nd.
You know who you are, don't you? You're Buddy from Belfast, where everybody knows you.
An Oscar boost for Belfast. Kenneth Branagh's black and white drama, based on his childhood in Northern Ireland, won the People's Choice Award at this year's Toronto Film Festival. 12 of the last 13 winners went on to receive Academy Award nominations for Best Picture, and 5 of those films won the top Oscar. In Hollywood, I'm David Daniel.
That's all we have for business and entertainment. Coming up next, we have Brooke Fuller with your Waynesburg Sports Report.
Have you ever been to the Everly Library? If not, you should, because it's great. They have books of all different genres: history, biography, fiction. Try The Evolution of Life, Life of Pi, or Jurassic Park. So what if books aren't your thing? Try movies like Frozen, or TV shows like Lost. Books and DVDs aren't the only thing, though. Take a trip to the second floor. Welcome to the Writing Center. These tutors will tell you everything you need to know about writing a paper, and they'll help revise your essays. Now let's head back down. Behold, the Knox Learning Center. Need to print something out 5 minutes before your next class because you procrastinated? No problem. You can also print off pictures of dogs. Because, well, you can. So grab your homework, laptop, and textbook, and study diligently. Bring your lunch too. Actually, you can't. That's illegal. Now you know the Everly Library. Stop by anytime. Seriously, it's open all week.
Hello there, I'm Brooke Fuller with your Waynesburg Sports Report. Waynesburg University sports were back at it again this past week. With 714 days passing, the Waynesburg football team finally enters the win column. Here is WCTV's Seth Evans with more on the game.
Waynesburg won its first game in nearly 2 years with a dominating performance this past Saturday versus Teal. 714 days was
too long
for the Yellow Jacket football program to get in the win column. Waynesburg started off fast with a rushing touchdown on a pitch to Justin Flack on the first drive of the game. Teal responded immediately with a touchdown to even the game at 7 apiece. Waynesburg took control after, however, scoring 31 unanswered points to go up 38-7.
You don't just wake up and say we're going to win today. You know, it's about putting the work in Monday through Friday to get to where you want to be on Saturday.
Leading the charge was the transfer trio of Tyler Raines, Justin Flack, and Dakota Romantino.
All the individual performances come together as a unit.
Of Waynesburg's 6 touchdowns on the day, 4 came from the arm of Raines, who went 17 of 21 with 325 passing yards and 4 passing touchdowns on the day, his best performance of the season by far. Just as impressive of a performance was Justin Flack on the ground. Flack rushed for 177 yards and 2 touchdowns on fantastic efficiency of 6.6 yards per carry. Dakota Romantino went off for 6 catches for 187 yards. Included in that was a 98-yard touchdown reception that is presumed to be the record for the longest pass in school history. Waynesburg improves to a record of 1-2. The Yellow Jackets travel to Carnegie Mellon this week to play the Tartans. For WCTV Sports, I'm Seth Evans.
Quarterback Tyler Raines was named PAC Offensive Player of the Week. Raines completed 17 of 21 passes for 325 yards and 4 touchdowns in Saturday afternoon's victory. It was his second straight game throwing for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions. Raines leads the PAC in pass efficiency and ranks second in passing touchdowns with 7. Wishing the Woo Swarm good luck as they travel to Carnegie Mellon this Saturday. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. The Waynesburg University volleyball team is off to its best start since 2005. With a record of 7-4, they are led by senior Allison Johnson, who was named PAC Defensive Player of the Week. Johnson is leading the conference with a career high of 41 digs and with a 3-1 victory over Mount Aloysius. With one conference win against W&J under their belt, the team opens conference play again at home versus Bethany tonight at 7 p.m. The Waynesburg University men's soccer team hosted Lancaster Bible College on Monday for a weekday afternoon contest. After building a 2-0 lead late in the contest, Waynesburg saw the Chargers score 3 goals in less than 3 minutes to pull off a shocking 3-2 win. Waynesburg will try and bounce back from Monday's loss on Saturday, September 25th, when it hosts Marymount. Start time is scheduled for 2 p.m. The Waynesburg University women's soccer team dominated visiting Lancaster Bible College during Monday's matchup at John F. Wiley Stadium, but with just over 1 minute remaining in the game, the score was tied 0-0. However, freshman Haley Johnson finally broke the scoreless tie with 1 minute and 4 seconds remaining to pull out a 1-0 win over the Chargers. Johnson was named PAC Women's Soccer Rookie of the Week on Monday. Her full 4 goals and 8 points lead Waynesburg this fall. Waynesburg is back in action on Saturday, September 25th when it hosts Rochester. Start time is scheduled for 11 a.m. The Waynesburg University women's golf team traveled to Youghiogheny Country Club for a Saturday dual match with Carlo. The Yellow Jackets and Celtics were down right to the wire before the host team pulled out a 444-445 win. Waynesburg is scheduled to be back in action on Thursday when they face Geneva in a dual match at Conquenessing Country Club in Elwood City, Pennsylvania. The Waynesburg University men's golf team traveled to Latrobe Country Club on Monday to compete in the St. Vincent College Fall Invitational. The Yellow Jackets placed 8th in an 8-team event. The Yellow Jackets returned to the course on Thursday, September 23rd when they traveled to Conquenessing Country Club in Elwood City, Pennsylvania, to face Geneva in a dual match. Tee time is scheduled for 12 p.m. That's all for sports. Coming up next, we have Micah Leith with your full weather report.
Hello, I'm Michael Leith with your Channel 14 Weather Report. Today we had a mostly cloudy day today with a 45% chance of rain throughout the day. This week we're finally starting to see temperatures drop as we head into the fall season. The high today was only 75 with a low of 63. Unfortunately, our first day of fall won't be a very nice day. Rain is predicted all day tomorrow with a high of 75 and a low of 58. Thursday is where we really start to see the temperatures drop into the fall range with a high of only 64 and a low all the way down at 48. There's only a chance of rain on Thursday, so make sure you have your umbrella with you. Friday we'll see the sun again finally, but we'll still only have a high of 60 and a low of 46. Heading into the weekend here at Waynesburg, we have a partly cloudy day, a high of 68 and a low of 46. Sunday it will finally be sunny once again with a high of 67 and a low of 48. Finally, going into the week of Monday, we'll see a mostly cloudy day, high of 68 and a low of 44. I'm Micah Leith, and this has been your 7-day forecast.
Thank you, Micah. Rachel, I'm definitely excited to see this cooler weather getting into fall. How do you feel about tomorrow being the first day of fall?
Same, I'm super excited. Sounds like the weather's not going to be that nice, but I'm just excited for the changing leaves and, of course, pumpkin spice lattes. What are you excited about for fall?
I'm definitely excited to go apple picking and just going to the pumpkin patch and dressing my dog in sweaters. So that'll be fun.
Awesome. Well, that's actually all we have time for here today on Channel 14 News. I'm Rachel Pellegrino.
And I'm Gwyn Napier. Have a great evening.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.